Alright, so let's talk about the newest Frankenstein movie. Because honestly, I wasn't prepared for the emotional damage, the gothic vibes, the unhinged science energy, and the giant existential slap it gave me at 3 in the morning when I thought I was just watching a simple horror remake. But this movie really said nope, let's ruin your night and your worldview. And I respect that level of commitment, so picture this. You sit down expecting a stitched-up corpse doing the usual Graham monster routine, and instead you get this moody, atmospheric, painfully human story that feels less like a monster movie and more like a therapy session wrapped in lightning bolts, to the point where halfway through I was like, okay, but who exactly is the monster here? Because it's not who I thought. And the film really leans into the tragic poetry of creation, identity, and the consequences of humans trying to play God when they definitely failed the science portion of the exam. And from the opening shot alone, fog rolling across a graveyard like the sky is exhaling sadness, church bells echoing in the background, Victor Frankenstein stumbling through the darkness like a man who hasn't slept since the Industrial Revolution. You feel this immediate dread, but also this weird sympathy, because he's clearly one meltdown away from joining the undead himself. And the editing, oh my god. The editing is so sharp and intentional that every cut feels like another stitch running across the film's emotional skin, pulling everything tighter and tighter until you're sitting there clenching your blanket like a Victorian woman having an episode. And then we get to the creation scene, which is honestly one of the best cinematic versions ever done, because instead of making it look like a mad scientist's rave party with sparks flying everywhere, the movie slows down and becomes painfully intimate. There's no triumphant music, no. It's alive. In a proud dramatic yell, just this sickening moment where Victor realizes what he's actually doing, his hands shaking, this heavy breathing, the room full of candles, rain pounding on the roof like the universe itself is judging him, and the creature's body lying there limp and pale and almost too human, and when it finally jolts awake with this subtle twitch instead of a big Hollywood jump, it's somehow even more terrifying, because the movie isn't trying to scare you with spectacle, it's scaring you with the concept. The moment a man realizes he created something he cannot possibly handle, and the creature's first breath sounds like a dying man inhaling a nightmare, and Victor just backs away with this expression like, yeah, I've made several mistakes in a row. And from that point the movie becomes a slow, tragic chase between creator and creation. And I love how this adaptation gives the monster actual emotional depth instead of making him this grunting brick of terror, because this version feels like a newborn shoved into a world that hates him, learning everything too fast, absorbing cruelty at lightning speed. And the movie really sits with that. Like there's this scene where he watches a family through a window, trying to mimic their gestures, their laughter, their tenderness, and he desperately wants to be part of something, anything, and the way the camera lingers on his eyes makes your heart snap in half, because you can literally see him wishing he could step inside that warm little world, but he can't, because people scream the moment they see him, and that loneliness grows heavier every minute, and there's this heartbreaking montage where he tries to practice smiling, speaking, and even reaching out, only to get attacked, chased, or rejected every single time. And by the time the movie hits the middle section, you realize you're rooting for the creature more than the creator, which is wild, but also exactly what the book intended, and the cinematography steals the whole movie because everything looks like a painted nightmare. Glowing lanterns, cold blue moonlight, fog swallowing entire forests, and this color palette that shifts with the creature's emotional journey. Warm golds when he's hopeful, sickly greens when he's confused or scared, icy whites when he's enraged or grieving, and the film uses weather like a mood ring from hell, with storms rolling in every time Victor's guilt gets too loud. And speaking of Victor, this man is falling apart on screen like a wet tissue in the rain, trembling, hallucinating, losing his grip on everything, and the actor absolutely nails that I'm brilliant but also catastrophically stupid vibe that defines Frankenstein, because he created life but can't control it, outrun it, hide from it, or emotionally process it. And the movie gives him this spiraling downfall that feels so real and so stressful that you want to reach into the screen and shake him like, Biro, he just wanted affection. Why did you make him and then ghost him like you blocked your own son? And the story keeps escalating until both creator and creation are hurting, grieving, and furious. And then everything snaps when the monster endures yet another betrayal from humanity and you see him break. Not in a dramatic, roaring monster moment, but in a silent close-up where a single tear runs down his scarred cheek, and he whispers something he learned from the family he once watched, and holy hell, that moment hit harder than most horror. Finales because it shows he didn't want to be evil. He was shaped, rejected, sharpened by cruelty until vengeance became his only language. And when he confronts Victor later, the dialogue is so raw and Shakespeare-level intense that the movie stops feeling like a horror film and becomes this tragic confrontation between father and abandoned child, with the monster begging for understanding and Victor begging for forgiveness from himself. And then everything explodes, figuratively, emotionally, sometimes literally, and the final act turns into this cold, haunting pursuit across frozen landscapes where the wind screams louder than either of them, and both men look like ghosts chasing ghosts. And by the time the ending arrives, no spoilers, but you know how Frankenstein stories go. The film leaves you staring at the screen like you just witnessed something ancient and heavy, and the score swells with this low, mournful cello that feels like grief itself is playing an instrument, and you suddenly sit there questioning life, morality, responsibility, humanity, and whether anyone in this story deserved what they got. And the best part, the movie doesn't treat the audience like idiots. It trusts you to understand the symbolism, the themes, the moral ambiguity, the pain embedded into every decision, and it lets scenes breathe so the emotions hit harder, and the performances? Insane. The Monsters actor delivers one of the best physical performances of the year. Every movement feels deliberate, like a child in the body of a giant who desperately wants to shrink himself to fit into the world. And Victor's actor brings this trembling, manic energy that never turns cartoonish, just painfully real, like a man running from a shadow that keeps getting bigger. And even the side characters have weight, each moment shaping the monster's worldview, for better or worse, and the production design makes the whole world feel tactile. Mud, wood, blood, wind, everything gritty and grounded. And the monster design is perfect. Not too monstrous, not too human, just unsettling enough to evoke fear while still allowing empathy. And the scars look like someone stitched together tragedy, hope, and bad decisions, and honestly, the makeup team deserves an award because you can see the monster's expressions through layers of prosthetics without losing the uncanny valley effect. And the themes? Chef's kiss. It's about abandonment, responsibility, the ethics of creation, the human need for connection, and the societal cruelty that pushes out anyone who looks different. And the movie nails it without hitting you over the head with exposition. And when the credits roll, you're left with this heavy silence, because the film doesn't scare you with jump scares. It scares you with humanity, and it reminds you that monsters are made, not born. And the saddest part is realizing the monster's entire arc could have gone differently if Victor had shown him even 1 ounce of compassion from the beginning. And somehow this version manages to feel like a faithful love letter to the original novel and a fresh modern reinterpretation at the same time, making you think, cry, shiver, and occasionally yell, "Damn it, Victor," at the screen. And honestly, the entire experience feels like watching a Gothic painting come alive, stab you emotionally, then whisper, "Don't worry, it's for character development." And that's why this Frankenstein movie is not just a horror film, but a tragic masterpiece that leaves you haunted long after you've hit pause.